Welcome to the Alsco Uniforms It Pays to Keep Clean podcast. Join us as we spend time with Alsco Chief Operating Officer Jim Kearns. I'm your host, Dana Craig. Let's get started. Hi, Jim. How you doing?
Good, Dana. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So we have you kind of fresh off your travels this time, don't we?
Fresh off the travel, yeah.
Okay. So not enough time to forget about anything. So I hope that you will regale us with all kinds of fabulous stories. So these are your March branch visits. You made your way kind of hither and yon across Region 2, which is one of our most geographically disparate regions. And you started out in good old Nashville, Tennessee,
right.
Music City. How was that?
It was good. We had a nice visit in Nashville. What a terrific city. I mean, just when you arrive in the city, the airport's new. A lot of activity, and when you visit our plant, I mean, we're in a lot of new development all over us,
yes.
Right? And so, but what a great place for growth. Lots of opportunity there.
When was the last time you were in Nashville, either the city or at our plant?
We were there a year ago.
Okay.
A year ago. So this is a kind of a repeat visit. Yep.
Okay.
So we're undergoing some change in Nashville, and so
yes.
It was a nice time to follow back up and see, kind of evaluate our growth opportunities. What's the best way forward in Nashville?
Yeah, because the opportunities certainly have not diminished. It's like, as you said, it's a thriving metropolitan
Very
area.
much so.
You can see all the cranes and the growth just in the city, much less in the extended area as well. So how positioned do they seem to be to take advantage of some?
I think they're well positioned.
Yeah.
We've made some small changes in the plant, I think, which are going to have a big impact on things. Plant looked good. It was, they adopted some 5S procedures from the
Great.
last time that we were
Mm-hmm.
there, and so I think it showed pretty well. We had a great route room meeting.
Good.
We had all of the RSRs in a room and had a nice conversation with the group, so that was good. Talked a lot about selling first aid cabinets.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, we did talk about it, and we're having some success, some limited success. They do an interesting thing in Nashville. That's something that maybe we should think about in other branches. They give them a tote bag of AllFresh products, and the idea is that they're supposed to sample everything in the bag every week. And so come back with an empty bag, and then they reload it and take it back out the next week.
Cool.
Yeah, so a new idea that I hadn't seen before, and seemed to be working. So they had some pretty good AllFresh sales, in addition to first aid sales.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah, good stuff.
Did so that first aid initiative has been out maybe for a quarter now, a little bit longer than a quarter. Had they been trying to get into that prior to the initiative, or is the initiative kind of kickstarted the overall
I think the
event?
initiative kind of kickstarted it.
Okay.
But the sense that I'm getting in these three plants is that while people believe in it, they think it's a great idea, it's just going to take some time,
Yeah.
right? And so I think it's something we have to be persistent at, right? And just keep working at these sales, keep sampling, keep moving these products.
Right. Well, and I think in a lot of our branches, a lot of the customers, you're either not meeting anyone at the delivery, or
Right.
maybe not meeting the person that you should be having that conversation with. So it's not only identifying the places that are more ready opportunities, but then
Right.
if you can.
And oftentimes we got a competitor cabinet
Yeah.
on the wall, and
Right.
so we need to explain the value proposition with our product, because we do
that's
really
a different
provide
conversation.
we provide a superior product. So
Yeah.
but it's something we're seeing. There's like in any new initiative, we have some RSRs that are really
Gung-ho about
and
it.
they're doing well, and then it's going to take some time for the others.
Right.
But we need to make it part of our RSR culture, right?
Right.
To sell first aid cabinets.
Well, and hopefully a lot of times too, if you see, like I don't think I'm very much of a salesperson, but if I saw my buddy doing it and kind of maybe we talked about some easy ins or some easy ways to have the conversation, that's better than it coming from someone who doesn't
sure.
live the day-to-day that I live, so.
Yeah, for sure.
No, good. Well, I hope that they have a lot of good success with that.
I think that they will. And look, it's a great city, right? We should own downtown
Yeah, we
Nashville.
should, yeah.
So it's a good place to be right now. I expect a lot from Nashville going forward.
Did you have an opportunity to get downtown and?
You know, we
guys walk around or do anything?
we were downtown. I mean, we were fortunate this trip. We had great weather. I mean, the
Oh,
weather
good.
was nice in Nashville. We actually walked to a restaurant, an account that we had taken over a year ago. So we were brand new in this account a year ago, and we got that account because the RSR stayed in contact with the owner of the restaurant. He wasn't satisfied with the provider that he had, and so he was able to, get us back into this
Yeah.
place. And a year later, they're thrilled with us.
Oh, that's good to hear.
So it was nice to kind of follow back up.
Yeah.
And see these folks. We walked down there on a nice evening, and it's a vibrant place. So that was good. The regional sales manager, who wasn't there last time, was there this time, so it
Oh,
was
good.
good to see him present this time.
And he, I assume, was bullish on opportunities they're seeing
Very
in the
much so,
market.
yeah, very
And
much
beyond
so.
food and beverage, were you talking a lot about target market?
Target market, a lot of opportunities. Now we're, a little constrained to do healthcare and some things like
Yes.
that, but there is a lot of uniform opportunities, AllFresh opportunities. And that's why this sampling program that they've got there seems to work pretty well. So that was
Well,
that
who
was good
doesn't
to
like
see.
to try before you buy, really?
Right.
So, and then
So-
you kind of get locked in, and it's
Yeah.
easier to come back and finalize it. So,
The other thing that was good there that we had and I hadn't had this before, the CSC gave a presentation
oh,
in the
fabulous.
meeting and talked about how he was doing some surveys and contacting other customers and kind of getting a sense of the overall customer engagement and whether there were issues we could follow up on. And they don't have that many customers in Nashville. We kind of talked through them calling all of their customers. They're similar to what we saw in Surrey
Yes.
a few visits ago, and they seemed all in on that idea.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to hear the sorts of conversations that the CSC was having with the customer, and then how he would go out and either talk directly to the RSR or the DM, and how we were getting this sense of urgency around whatever
the service
pain
issues
points or
yeah.
whatever there was, or opportunities to
Absolutely. For
to
additional
sell and all
product,
that sort of
yeah.
stuff. So that was good. We hadn't really talked to the CSC much
No.
in our branch visits.
And I think that role is becoming more and more important, of course, and more of an opportunity, even if it's only 10% of the week, 5% of the week, that you're proactively making calls. If there's an opportunity to do that, there's probably a lot of good things that can come from that.
For sure.
So from Nashville, you went to Denver.
Went to Denver.
So you went your furthest point away and then started making your way back home, is
Right.
what it sounds like. So Denver, we have a relatively new general manager to that
Yep.
facility. I think he's within a year and a half or so,
Right.
David Tafoya. Not new to the Denver market, of course, because I think he kind of cut his teeth in Denver before he became general manager in Farmington.
Correct.
Which is a very unique market that I'm sure he got to learn all kinds of things from. How was your visit in Denver?
It was really good. When you first get to Denver, David, points out to you that he's not related to Bob Tafoya.
Okay.
Bob Tafoya was a prominent figure in
Yes.
Alsco's history. He was a regional manager. He ran the Denver branch, and sadly he passed away a couple of years ago. But no relation. David Tafoya is no relation to Bob Tafoya.
Noted.
Yeah, but it's kind of fun to have another Tafoya running Denver. But Denver has been a powerhouse for years and years and years,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
It's been one of our top performing branches, and you step into the place and it doesn't take you but 2 minutes to figure out why that is.
And there's two places to step into. I don't know if you only
two places
went
to step into. Yeah,
to Elm Street, or did you go to Cook?
we go to
or-
both. We
you
went to both.
Okay.
And I was involved in the acquisition when we got the Elm Street plant.
Mhm.
We acquired Elm Street in Sacramento from National Linen.
Okay.
it was one of the first transactions we did with National Linen many years ago. So yeah, we saw both plants. Both plants look great. You know, they do a lot of volume there. It's a terrific market for us. You know, really great people. You know, they have we attended their one of the best route room meetings I've seen in the Cook Street plant. They have, there was 30 plus RSRs in the room, very engaged, and probably the most engaged RSR group I've seen. It was great to watch David and the service manager interact with the team. A lot of good discussion, and they weren't afraid to engage with us and
good.
Share some good ideas. One of the RSRs mentioned a product that we might add to the first aid cabinets that's very interesting. So, I won't say what that product is until we figure out if it's a possibility or not.
Sure.
But yeah, what a great idea. Something really noteworthy to follow up on, and a lot of discussion about first aid cabinets and selling first aid cabinets there, and the issues that they were dealing with. So it was a great discussion. It was nice to see the back and forth, with the management team, and these guys, a lot of tenure in the group.
Yeah, I bet.
From senior guys to new guys, nice mix. But it was a really good discussion with these folks.
Did they talk much about the Denver market in general and how it's changing or growing, or where they're seeing some opportunities?
We've got Denver pretty well covered. We looked at a map on different geographies, where they might go into. One of the things we spent a fair amount of time talking about is the kind of ski season volume there. That the impact of the drought in Colorado's had a big impact on their business. It impacts Grand Junction. It impacts Salt Lake City. And they do a lot of business there, and so they're having to figure out how to make up for it.
Right.
And so they're doing different things to maybe target some other more less drought dependent customers out there. But
did they talk at all earlier this week? I was on a call around about the Denver market and learned that this is probably only old news to Dana, but that they're building a new soccer stadium there and bringing in, maybe it already exists, but like a soccer team, and there's a lot of enthusiasm in that corridor where all of that is happening. Was there talk around that?
Well, we talked not specifically around the soccer stadium, but just in general, with the Colorado Rockies and all of that stuff. It's a very sports-minded,
oriented town.
Yeah. But a lot going on there. It's a big city. We do a lot of business in Colorado. So, yeah, just a lot going on there.
And then in terms of growth opportunities and target market, I think we kind of are well known in the food and beverage space there. What other opportunities are they seeing from an industrial standpoint? Maybe?
Well, we're, look, with the current news about Cintas acquiring UniFirst, I think there's going to be some opportunities for us, where, maybe the UniFirst customer doesn't want to be a Cintas customer, and so I think that's going to be good for us there. So I think we're seeing some uniform opportunities there. But a lot of different things, happening, agricultural type opportunities, surrounding Denver. Some of that, more touristy hospitality opportunities.
Yes,
And look, with both plants and the way they're set up, we're well positioned to do healthcare there. And so there's a lot of good healthcare opportunities. So I think we're seeing it in all areas. We have a really good F&B business, and are building out the industrial uniform business, and building out the healthcare business. But look, both of the we toured the facilities. Both facilities look great. You can tell that it's just the way they run them.
Yeah.
So that was nice to see how well maintained these branches have been, over the years. They've got a tunnel in Elm Street that's 30 years old, still running fine, and that's a product of good preventative maintenance.
Yeah, putting a little love into.
And
Yeah.
making sure that they're maintained properly.
Good.
It was interesting to talk to some of the people there. There's a lady there who is the office manager.
Donna
Jasmine.
yeah.
Between her, her mother, and her sister, I believe, they have 96 years of service to Alscoan.
Yes.
So that's just amazing.
An incredible team.
Yeah, she's a product of a kind of an internal management development program. So ACE, they call it. And so she is, started out, working in production and worked her way up through the office. And there are a couple other people in their management team who've done the same thing. So it's nice to see, people there being able to work up in the organization. So that was terrific to see.
Yeah, she's been a staple and foundational element of that office for a long time.
For a long time.
David is kind of lucky to walk back into
For sure.
To that as well as he kind of figures out where he wants to take Denver next. So.
We had 2 plants. They do about equal amount of revenue out of each plant. And going over to the Elm Street plant, it'd been a few years since I've been into Cook and to Elm Street, but they have 2 great facilities, and there's no reason those won't continue to be, high performing branches for us in the future.
Yeah. Well, great. It sounds like that was a really positive visit.
Yeah,
and
it's
particularly
nice.
the RSR.
Yeah, it's nice to
meeting.
see these branches that have performed well over the years.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to walk in and you get a sense of the culture, of their success. It's contagious. It just kind of rubs off on you. So that's great. They've got a new RSM in Denver, dedicated to that branch. There seems to be some really good alignment there.
Oh, great.
And so we're starting to really take off there. So, that's something where we've maybe struggled a little bit in the past, but it looks like we're headed the right direction now. So that's exciting.
So you weren't done yet. Sounds like that would have been a great trip, a great visit to maybe even have ended the week on. But you finished up in Phoenix, another large facility, not 2 processing facilities like Denver, but certainly a large plant and a large market. I believe you visited Phoenix. Did you go to Phoenix last year? I feel like you
Went
did.
to Phoenix last year, but again, kind of like Nashville, a lot of change taking place, and we've got. David's pretty new in Denver. We had a GM in Denver for many, many years, and so there's a little bit of a changing of the guard in Denver. And when David came up to Denver, we had a guy fill in for him in Farmington, who ultimately went to Phoenix. So we have a new GM in Phoenix.
Yeah.
What was interesting was it was nearly 90 degrees in Denver, which is unseasonably warm.
Yes.
Which is why the ski resorts are closing down, and I think it was a little cooler when we got to Phoenix.
89.
89, something like that. But Phoenix, what a big town.
Big, sprawling, continues to grow.
Yeah, 6th largest city or something, 5th largest city in the country. It's hard to imagine, but you get a sense of it when you fly in. You get a sense of it. When you drive around, but it's, again, it's a facility that's on the same level as that Elm Street plant in Colorado, big facility, well laid out, lots of opportunities there, and so it was good to go back there and see what's going on there. They've done a lot of things in the last year to kind of improve on some of the things they were doing in the past, but. First and foremost, I mean, they have a culture of safety in Phoenix. They've had year over year of TRIR below 2.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah, for that size of an operation, and even if you don't look inside the 4 walls, but more to keep it that low with that many drivers out on the street and in the Phoenix traffic is no easy
joke,
feat.
right?
Yeah, no, it's not.
And so it's world class.
Yeah, fabulous.
World class. But they, some fun things that they do. they've got a mannequin that is dressed in PPE gear, and they've nicknamed it Safety Bob.
Okay.
And so there's a play on Safety Bob. What would Safety Bob do in this situation in the plant? And what was great about that, it was just a way to re-energize the safety message.
Right.
And the
Safety can be fun.
It can be fun, and they make it that way. And Safety Bob is something new. Hadn't seen Safety Bob before, but they're having a lot of fun with that, and so
Good.
they're keeping safety top of mind for those folks, and so that's terrific. So yeah, we don't come to too many branches of that size that have consistently
The consistency is key. Really.
right.
That's
and
incredible.
but they everybody talked about it. They're still they haven't lost sight of it. They haven't let go of it. They're not resting on their laurels or anything like that. They're really getting after it.
So Todd Reinhardt is our general manager in Phoenix, fairly new to that position in Phoenix within
Right.
the last 6 or 8
Yeah.
months maybe. And so when you visited last time, he was not the general manager.
He was
so
not the general
maybe
manager.
kind of we know at least that he's carrying over the good safety culture, which is
For
fabulous.
sure.
What are some other improvements or changes that you saw there?
So a couple new things that I saw there were this golden broom. It's not really a contest. It's how they approach 5S, and so up in the break room they have a golden broom, and so then they celebrate 5S improvements that they make throughout the plant. So the plant looked really good. And so frequently they'll sit down in the break room, and they'll recognize people for areas that they've cleaned up in the branch.
Yeah.
And so it's noticeable. So I thought that was good. They also do a bingo for people on some 5S metrics, which is pretty interesting. And apparently, it's fascinating because not everybody that works inside the plant, really understands what bingo is and how it's played, and so they're having some fun with that. And if you're
grandparents' game, kind of.
and
isn't
if
it?
you're
Yeah.
performing, at or above expectation, then you get to participate
Cool.
in a bingo game, and so it's just a lot of fun things that they're doing there to kind of promote the objectives that they're trying to achieve there.
Well, I love that, just to try to, any new initiative is going to gain a little bit more traction or enthusiasm if there is some fun around it. And it doesn't mean you're not serious about it, and it doesn't mean that the end game isn't serious, but it's okay to have fun at work too. I hope everybody thinks that.
We had good visits with the RSRs. We have some RSRs that are selling a lot of first aid. There was one
Great.
guy, Jason, he kind of runs their industrial route in Phoenix. He's sold 15 first aid cabinets.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so there's a couple others that have been successful at it. We need more widespread.
Of course we do, yeah.
Success, but there are folks that are doing it right.
Right.
Jason put 4 first aid cabinets in 2 customer locations. Yeah, they're finding a way to sell these cabinets, so that's good.
And then what about from the sales side and the growth side? Did you receive a presentation there from the RSM, or talk a little bit about what the market opportunities are?
We received a very energetic sales presentation from Jason down there.
Yeah, Jason Chelios. Yeah.
Yes, and so he is very energized, and he has started some contest, and in fact he's kind of committed us to, before we got there, he committed kind of the executive team from Salt Lake City to do a few things for the winners of this contest that he implemented, and one of them is that they're prospecting for new industrial customers, particularly customers that may not want to move to Centos, And if you and they've likened it to a baseball game, which makes sense. Spring
Sure.
training and
Yeah.
in Phoenix, so it's kind of it's got a baseball theme to it. But if you hit it out of the park in this contest, then you're going to get a signed bat. Apparently, he participated in a sales contest years ago, and he got a signed bat from various people. But these folks Jason is committed to bring these guys up to Salt Lake City, these winners, and then have people sign their bats.
Sign their bat.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So it was another way to attack or to provide some energy to this
Yeah.
activity. So that was fun. But we're seeing some success there.
Okay, good. That's nice to know.
The manager let his team make presentations, and he's in the process of building a team. And we had a good presentation from the office manager who talked a lot about the interaction she has with her customers, collecting accounts receivable. And
Yeah.
that's something that we often overlook, but she's able to get these folks, resolve problems, so that we can, train our customers to pay our bills, which is important. But the HR manager came in and she started off with a very clever presentation. She gave us a candy bag, and then she kind of talked through, HR and, developing people and aligning with the company's, mission, vision, values, and how it related to, some of this candy that was in this candy bag that she gave us. So it was very clever and well done. So their team did a nice job.
Sounds like they've got a lot of creativity from
They do.
baseball contests and golden
I think the
brooms
GM,
and bingos and yeah.
I think that's one of the things this GM brings to that job is just, he is trying to reduce turnover, create an
Sure.
environment where people want to stay, and I think it's rubbing off
Yeah.
there. So
Well, that's really fabulous. That sounds like that was a good visit.
Yeah.
So turn our sights to April, which is just a
Mhm.
couple of weeks away, probably less than 2 weeks away at this point. We've got meetings in the middle of April, which will be our kind of Q1 growth meeting. And then you have branch visits toward the end of the month. So where are you going on your branch visits?
So we're going to, I don't remember the order, Charlotte, Richmond, and Allentown.
Yes.
Did I get the right order?
I think that is not only the ones, but also the order.
Right order,
but
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And Charlotte and Richmond new on the list, I think.
Yep.
And Allentown, multiple, this is like a three-peat maybe for them or so.
Well, they're a
Since
new branch,
Recently, that's right, recently acquired, a lot of change going on there.
A lot of change, a lot of investment going on there, and so we need to make sure that they stay on track.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And always a good group of people to visit, so
Sure.
I'm imagining that you will hopefully see some good things while you're there. Anything that you want to say about the growth meetings before we wrap
well,
up?
I'm looking forward to Q1. We are building momentum. Every one of the branches were ahead of budget for Q1. Expecting a good March, and so, I think it's going to be a positive meeting. I think we're going to talk. Have to spend some time talking about how we, maintain this momentum.
Sure.
In
Yeah.
the rest of the year, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Well, sounds good. We will talk shortly after that, or after your visits anyway, and be able to get some updates on how that trip
Perfect.
goes. So thanks for spending your time with us.
Thank you.
That's all for today's episode of the It Pays to Keep Clean podcast. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the world of Alsco uniforms, where we explore the growth and challenges in our industry. Tune in next time for more industry insights, growth strategies, and tales from the field. If you've enjoyed our time together, please leave us a rating and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you want to learn more about our services, visit us at alsco.com. From all of us here at the It Pays to Keep Clean podcast and Alsco Uniforms, thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay clean, and we'll see you in the next episode.